This organizational meeting of the Scottsboro City Council will come to order. I'll give the invocation and Ms. Phillips will lead you all in the Pledge of Allegiance. Almighty God, we give you thanks and praise for your great goodness towards us. We thank you for the chartered liberties that you have given to American citizens. We are thankful for those who are willing to serve in this republic. Be with the mayor and council as they go about their business this evening. Lead, guide, and direct them. These things we ask in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Phillips, would you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Patrick Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Gary Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Greg Mashburn.
Here.
Mr. Richard Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Mike Ashburn.
Here.
There appears to be a quorum and we are conducting business. Chair will entertain a motion that we adopt the agenda that you have in front.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Patrick Stewart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Matchman. Any discussion? Saying that there is none, I assume you're here to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. And the chairs, the ayes have it. Next item of business is the election of a council president.
I nominate Patrick Stewart.
Mr. Mashburn nominates Mr. Patrick Stewart. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we do. Sorry about that. First, Mr. Richard Bailey will be sworn in by the Honorable Jason Pierce, District Attorney of Jackson County. Ms. Bailey?
I, Richard Bailey,
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof,
as long as I continue to be a citizen thereof,
and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. Would Mr. Mike Ashburn please come forward? Mr. Ashburn, would you place your left hand on the Holy Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Mike Ashburn,
I, Mike Ashburn,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
so long as I continue
so long as I continue
a citizen thereof,
a citizen thereof.
and that I will faithfully and honestly
I will faithfully and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which I am about to enter. Upon which I am about to enter. To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Gary Stewart, would you come forward, please? Place your left hand on the Holy Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Gary Stewart,
I, Gary Stewart,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof,
and that I will faithfully and honestly
and I will faithfully and honestly
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter,
of the office upon which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Now we will hear a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Patrick Stewart, second by Mr. Mashburn. Any discussion? Seeing that there is none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign? Ayes have it. Election of the council president. Mr. Mashburn, I believe you have a nomination.
Patrick Stewart, please.
Mr. Mashburn nominates Patrick Stewart as president of the council. Are there any other nominations? Seeing that there are none, nominations are closed. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Phillips.
Mr. Patrick Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Gary Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Greg Mashburn,
Yes.
Mr. Richard Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Mike Ashburn.
Yes.
Mr. Patrick Stewart is elected president of the Scottsboro City Council. Congratulations. With your permission, I will continue in the chair.
Please.
The second item is the election of the city council president pro tem. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Greg Mashburn.
Mr. Greg Mashburn has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Seeing that there are none, nominations are closed. Ms. Phillips, would you do a roll call vote?
Mr. Patrick Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Gary Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Greg Mashburn,
Yes.
Mr. Richard Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Mike Ashburn.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Mashburn. The next item is to elect a council member to the planning commission. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Richard Bailey.
Mr. Richard Bailey has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Seeing there are none, I assume you're ready for a vote. Ms. Phillips, roll call, please.
Mr. Patrick Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Gary Stewart,
Yes.
Mr. Greg Mashburn,
Yes.
Mr. Richard Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Mike Ashburn.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is the election of members to the Solid Waste Disposal Authority. The Solid Waste Disposal Authority is a separate legal entity from the city, which is composed of members of the city council, the city clerk, and the city's mayor. But its bylaws require an election. Do I hear a motion that the three newly sworn-in council members, Mr. Ashburn, Mr. Bailey, and Mr. Stewart, be named to the Solid Waste Disposal Authority?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Patrick Stewart makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Mashburn seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing there is none, I assume you're ready for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, the new members of the Solid Waste Disposal Authority. We would entertain a motion to adjourn this organizational meeting and reconvene in a work session.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Ashburn makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Patrick Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman.
You're welcome. formalities were given at the organizational meeting. The first item on tonight's work session is the Earhart abatement case. Paige Earhart, come forward, please.
Yes, and thank you to everyone that's newly elected. Most of you all already know what the case is about as far as it concerns Daddy's property, and I just wanted to make you all aware of the steps that I have taken up to this point to rectify the issues with the properties on Tupelo Pike and Maple Avenue. On October the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we cleared the house lot that was on Tupelo Pike. And then on that Friday, the 12th, I met with Robin, and we discussed trying to get back in touch with the railroad department because they have used the lot as a depository for all of their trash and debris. So he is working on that to where we can get them to do their part on that. And at that time, I also told him about the companies that we had contacted that would be able to take down the feed mill and salvage some of the wood because it has been deemed, it's part of pine and oak and things, and so I just don't want it scrapped at that point to where I maybe can do something with some of it to honor Daddy as well. And so in your packet, you have a list of the companies that we have contacted, and there have been a few since that we wrote that out and copied it for you. But one of the letters I want you to definitely look at, and it is from Robert Cleaner. And he is from Birmingham and is the president of a very well-known company, and you'll see that they're Evolutia. And he spent 2 Fridays ago with us all day long, and he has sent us a letter saying that he is coming back and to further evaluate, and he is quite interested in the properties, and he deals with architects and builders all over the United States. So if you'll just notice what we have done from that standpoint. Okay, now, the lot that's on the corner of Tupelo Pike and Maple Avenue, which would be part of the, not the feed mill property, but more of Daddy's where the grain bins and things are, that is going to be bush hogged, and Bart Buchanan is working on doing that for me. And once it is bush hogged, then I plan to use weed killer and have a maintenance company to where we can try to keep that under control there. And let's see, then the next, let's see, I've already told you about the feed mill, and I have contacted a few additional companies. But the main thing is I just want you to know that I am working on it just as diligently as I can. And we have gotten some more responses from some of the companies, but due to the time, this has all happened in a very short period of time that we made contact with them. So I don't really have an update that I feel like I need to tell you about right now, but I appreciate the opportunity to let you know that I don't want it to stay in this condition, but I also want to try to, I can't just seem to bulldoze it, so I just want you to know that I'm working on it, and it is not down the road. It seems like it's in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Anyone have any questions? Thank you. We'll go to item number 2, discuss the Wind South Credit Union building at the Goose Pond Industrial Park. Mayor?
Yes, this is really just for information right now, but this is something I've been working on for many, many months. Mr. Kimmer had gotten involved, but this is a piece of property that used to be the Goose Pond Credit Union, and then they were bought out by Wind South. But in looking at tax maps, I realized that this was city-owned property that many years ago had been leased by Goose Pond, and then, like I said, inherited by Wind South. And as we were looking at this, realized that the property had basically been abandoned. So we reached out to Wind South to get the current status of it. It actually doesn't even have water to the property anymore. So in doing so, and getting their attorney involved with Mr. Kinnemer, they gave the property back to the city. And since we've acquired it back in the last couple of months or so, the street department has gone out, Wayne and his guys have done an excellent job of cleaning the property up, We discovered that somebody had tried to steal one of the HVAC units and so forth. But what we're getting towards is that at some point, I want the city to consider giving this property, or letting the Industrial Development Board maintain this property in their inventory. Northeast is, we're in discussions with Northeast and the EDA office and IDB. They're looking to start a truck driving school, a driving academy, and we've identified this piece of property that the school would actually be based out of. And so they're pursuing some grants. Dr. Campbell, we've been in a meeting with him. He feels very confident that they're going to be successful in getting these grants. So we feel like we've got a good use for the building. There's some work still to be done, some cost. Northeast knows that's going to be factored into their grant proposal, but it looks like we're going to be able to put some life back in this property. And the truck driving course is something that's very much needed for our area. It's been real successful in Marshall County, putting a lot of people in better paying jobs. So it's more for information to let you know that this is what's in the works for the property at this point.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you mentioned the HVAC unit. Will that be something that we are responsible for, or are they gonna eat that cost?
It's something that either the city or the Industrial Development Board may have to pay initially, but it would be reimbursed through Northeast as they acquire the property or lease the property as part of their grant process.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move to item number 3. Discuss the school resource officer funding. Mayor.
In your packet, you've got a copy of the memorandum of understanding. The school board attorney, Mr. Kinnemer, I think you also represent Water, Sewer, Gas. That's correct. Anyway, we've been working on this, I think back in July. Dr. Reyes came before the council and mentioned that we were in the process of all 3 entities working together to come up with a voluntary funding source to provide additional resource officers for the school system. This is that memorandum of understanding. The school system is looking to roll out their solicitation of funds around the 1st of December. They're still working on their document that will go to all the homes of school children and the businesses and so forth in the community. But we wanted to let you know that this is something that's very much alive and in the process. We've had several meetings, and I think Chief Dowell wants to speak to this as well.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting program, and I hope it goes well. And of course, it's for the children that attend Scottsboro City Schools. I guess my question would be for the city attorney: do we need some kind of resolution for the council to support this project and to earmark the money in a certain account for this?
At the appropriate time. I think it will require the Scottsboro City Board of Education, the Scottsboro Waterworks, Sewer and Gas Board, and the Scottsboro City Council to enter into a formal resolution adopting this memorandum and designate the account to be held under control of the Scottsboro Police Department.
Anybody have any questions about the program?
As far as the funding, when there will not be an officer hired until that money is fully vested, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Until there's sufficient funds in there, we would not hire an officer.
The
And currently, we do have 2 officers in there now that we pay for through our budget.
But the understanding with the school system, until we had enough funds to support 1 officer for 1 full semester, the officer would not be hired for that capacity.
Any other questions?
Mr. Kimmer, so we've got to go into another MOU or a resolution before we start the program?
I think what we need, if this is something the council is interested in doing, there is a separate memorandum of understanding between the Scottsboro Police Department and the Scottsboro City Board of Education.
That's correct.
Which established our current school resource officer class. Since this is different, separate, and apart, involves money and involves voluntary money, then you're going to need someone to collect it. The Scottsboro Water Works Sewer and Gas Board and Mr. White have stepped forward and say they'll be willing to do that. We all know that the Scottsboro City Board of Education has the need of such things. And the city, basically, this council will be amending the former memorandum of understanding with this memorandum of understanding, if there were a conflict between the two documents. So basically, what you would do is, instead of formal well, it would be in the form of a resolution that you would authorize the mayor to sign this document, just like the Waterworks Sewer and Gas Board would authorize its chairman to sign the document, and the school board would authorize Dr. Reyes to sign it.
Just so you all know, the current MOU that we have is with duties only,
Yes, sir.
nothing about finance.
So it's signing this one?
Yes, sir.
So we need to put that on the agenda to approve.
If you wish to move forward, that's the first thing that needs to be done.
We'll put it on this council meeting. Anyone have any other questions about that?
Are we gonna set up a separate account for this money going, or are we going to the general account?
No.
Or the county though?
That, I think it says in here, in the discussion we even had with Rick, it would be a separate account.
Chief Dowell, what is the cost for that? We're gonna have to set aside, it needs to be set aside for that SR.
Currently, our 2 officers is there now with benefits and pay is about $68,000 each. Because we don't intend to hire somebody, a rookie, somebody just starting and put them in school. We're going to put in 2, 3, 4-year people in the school because they're experienced. So it's about what it's going to cost per person.
Thank you.
What about vehicles? You don't have to buy another vehicle.
Well, eventually, that's part of the problem. You know, even if we get all the money to hire the personnel, then we got vehicle problems. But hopefully, this will be a continuing, perpetual, I guess I'm trying to say, where we would end up with some funds to buy vehicles. So it should say that it's, you know, the money should be earmarked for the SRO program and equipment.
In our discussions, I may add, Chief has brought up about the vehicles and fuel expense and all that, and you know, Dr. Reyes is well aware, you know, that's part of the expense of the program, and they know that would be part of what comes out of that fund to maintain vehicles, and, you know, it's all part of what you have to do to provide for the officer.
And also, just so you all know, our goal is to have 5 officers total, so that we can put 2 in the high school and 1 in each elementary school and junior high.
Any other questions? Thank you. Good. Item number 4, discuss resolution to surplus street department. Ms. Phillips.
The street department would like to surplus the following equipment: a 2004 Western Star dump truck. They would like to place this on gov deals, and an asphalt heater. They would like to sell this to the Jackson County Public Works Department.
Any questions on that? No, we'll put it on next week's, or the next council meeting. Go to item number 5, discuss the LED lighting conversion for solid waste buildings. Mayor?
Yes, as you know, we've been converting several of the city buildings around town, and we're doing some work up there at the conveyor belt and so forth at the Baylor and sanitation office, and they had requested that we take a look at their lighting, and it's pretty bad shape. So we've got a quote to convert the office to LED and do some conversion up there in the Baylor building as well, and you've got the quote here, it's $9,400, and I think there was still some sales tax from last year, correct, that we could pay this out of, that would cover the cost of this project.
I know it saved us money over time.
Yes.
The police station, I know y'all like converted.
It's been effective everywhere.
Okay. We'll put it on next week's, council
Thank
meeting. Go to item number 6, discuss resolution to surplus fire department equipment. Ms. Phillips.
The fire department has some items that they would like to surplus. There are 4 different items that are part of the vehicle extrication equipment that they just have replaced. They would like to offer this to the section volunteer fire department and then other departments after that.
Any questions on that? If not, we'll put it on next week's agenda. Go to reports, Mayor.
I don't have anything, just condolences to Mr. Kimmer and his family.
Richard Bailey.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out, and definitely thank Steve for being here tonight. I appreciate
Greg
you.
Mashman.
In regards to the landfill, I'd like to get an update report on that every time we have a work session, just to make sure where it's at, if you don't mind,
Sure.
that's all I have. That's all.
Gary Stewart.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight, and I also would like to wish my condolences to Mr. Kenner and his family. That's all I have.
Mike Ashman.
I'd like to remind everybody to be weather aware tonight. They talk like all of North Alabama could possibly have some real severe weather, so don't let it sneak up on you, be weather aware. Also like to give condolences to Mr. Kenner as well.
A couple of things. We will not have a meeting next Monday in observation of Veterans Day, but we will have a council meeting on Wednesday, the 14th at 6. And then we'll follow on the 19th with a work session, the 26th with a council meeting. Just want to welcome the new council members aboard, and then want to tell Mr. Kilmer condolences for his dad. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Mr. Gary Stewart, Mr. Ashton.